Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown Atlanta, where you are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. And you are that opportunity, and so am I. And so it is. Wherever you are, whatever path brought you here today, you are welcome. We know who you are. You are an individualized expression of God, the life, the divine life, in which we all live and express our being. Whatever your ethnic background, religious affiliation, however you know yourself and describe yourself, we are glad you're here. You're welcome to become a part of this community in whatever way serves you. We are an open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And now I'd like to share with you our principles as written by our founder, Ernest Holmes.
A few of the declaration of principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful. Hey.
All right, welcome back. A practitioner is someone who has demonstrated the ability to use spiritual practice and spiritual laws to bring about great changes in their lives. And they've demonstrated they know how to bring about these changes in others when asked. Licensed by Centers for Spiritual Living, they're available to help you with guidance and support in areas where you're looking for assistance. You can contact them through our website, cslmidtown.org. And today we've got one of our amazing practitioners with us to share good ideas and an affirmative prayer called the Spiritual Mind Treatment. Welcome, Norma Roberts. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Vance. Thank you again. And to everyone here, thank you for being here this morning. A happy, wonderful Sunday to you. I was looking over our CSL topics for this week, and gosh, it didn't seem relative. I just couldn't find anything interesting there. And then something happened to me, and I had to read it again. And it says that we are acknowledging and navigating the challenges and conflicts that love can present. Gain insights into maintaining harmony and resonance through mindfulness and deep understanding during turbulent times. Something came up to me in an experience that I met someone and I said, in my mind, something it just came to me. I don't like her. That isn't me. That isn't what I am. That I always feel that I am encircled by love. So I had to look at myself and see, what am I doing? What am I thinking? And I had to read our topics again. And it says, all wrongdoings arise in the mind. It is through the mind that wrongdoings can disappear. This teaching is in alignment with the teaching of science of mind. The belief and thinking in our minds create the container for our experience in life. If we encounter situations that don't align with our desires, we can gently return to our thoughts and the mindset we are holding. The mind co-creates with the law. The law doesn't edit the mind. It simply works with what it is given. So we become responsible for discerning what we are giving to the law to work with. This made me understand, to really remember, I should say, that for this idea to just pop up in my mind, I could give thanks to this person for allowing me to remove this idea from my mind to become completely clear and know just who I am. Right? And now, let us prepare for our spiritual mind treatment. As I speak in the first person, take as much as that resonates with you and allow everything else just drop away. Again, thank you for being here. As we begin our spiritual mind treatment, just relax and be with me. I know, and I know that God is all there is. It is the very essence of everything seen and unseen. It created me out of itself to express that it is. I now have a clear knowledge of who I am and what my purpose on this planet is. That is to gain insights into maintaining harmony and resonance through mindfulness and deep understanding during turbulent times. My mind is now free and clear from anything that would seem to contradict the ultimate truth that I have unlimited potential. Because my nature is one with divine nature, I am free from confusion or doubt. Any and all ideas of any nature that tend to obstruct my good, my self-expression, my perfect demonstration is right now uprooted, totally eliminated, and permanently eradicated from consciousness. I know love. I see love. And love manifests as my experience. Believing that I am individualized expression of God and a divine person in my own right, I know that I have within me all the skills and knowledge to deliver that which I choose to do. I expect new ideas, new ways of doing things to stimulate my imagination to action. I now give thanks for a greater degree of clarity in all of my thinking, and I accept an even greater capacity to see and know truth directly and instantaneously. I now experience new and greater expressions of perfect health, exceedingly abundant wealth, creative self-expression that reveals my divine design and joyous personal relationships with everyone. All that I now perceive in God is God in action. I now release this word into the law of mind that cannot return to me void, but must accomplish that to where it is sent. I relax. I let go. I let God, and so it is.
It's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning. Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott is a dynamic and humorous speaker, gifted teacher, and compassionate counselor. She's known for her storytelling and bringing wisdom of spiritual masters from all the great religions into her talks. Reverend Georgia founded the Center for Spiritual Awareness in 1998, shortly after graduating from the Holmes Institute of Consciousness Studies. In 2014, she was inducted into the Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers at Morehouse College. So we are very glad to have her here with us speaking this morning. Welcome, Dr. Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here, CSL Atlanta, Midtown. I was actually in your community last week as I was returning home from a vacation And I thought, oh, good, I'm going to be able to share a message with folks here not long from now. So it's great to be here. The title of my talk is called Love Points the Way, the Law Makes It Possible. Love points the way, the law makes it possible. You know, it's a foundational belief of New Thought and right out of the textbook of Science of Mind. And here's what it means to me. Love points the way is another way of saying that our desire is our way of letting spirit, the universe, and even ourselves know what we want. So for the next 25 minutes, love and desire are going to be synonymous here. We teach in Science of Mind that it is the Spirit's good pleasure to give us the keys to the kingdom. But do we always know what our kingdom looks like? Do we know what heaven in hand looks like for us? Have we thought about it enough to be clear and to be specific? You know, who taught us a great lesson in this was your own community member and world community member, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know, he didn't have I have a hope speech. He had a very specific I have a dream speech. And he was clear about what that looked like. You know, I have a dream where little Black girls and boys will walk one day hand in hand with little white girls and boys. Very specific. And can't you even feel that? You can see it as these kids walk down the road. He knew he had to be specific because if we don't know, how do we expect spirit to know? Our desires, even our secret desires, are the signposts spirit uses to determine what our kingdom, what our heaven on earth here feels like. Well, you know, you might say, look, Reverend Georgia, I'm pretty sure spirit doesn't want me flirting with that guy at the water cooler because we're both married only to some other people. And here's what I suspect God would answer. There's something missing in your marriage. Maybe it's something as easily remedied as creating ways to flirt with your spouse. But God might be saying, I'm only answering your desire here. After you get clear with your desire, we'll work out how it is that we can meet that desire. And maybe it's as simple as your desire to feel cherished at this time. And to meet our true desire, no matter what it is, we have to become better at swimming downstream with the current and not upstream against the current. We have to become better at working with God and not against God. Have you ever tried to hug and kiss a preteen, maybe your own child or your grandchild or your foster child or just a child trying to kiss a preteen in front of their friends? And what you often get is, ew, no, don't touch me. You know, if you're not successful in showing your child love, it's not because your desire to show your child love is wrong. It's because you're going about it in an unsuccessful way. So today, to help us become more successful in expressing our true desires, I want to talk about becoming an inverse paranoid. W. Clement Stone, the great metaphysician and businessman and philanthropist, once described himself as an inverse paranoid. Instead of believing that the world was plotting to do him harm, he chose to believe that the world was plotting to do him good. Instead of seeing every difficult or challenging event as negative, he saw it for what it could be. Something was meant to enrich him, to empower him, and to advance his own specific, clear dream. We could end so much pain in our life if we could become inverse paranoids. I have friends who were divorced 10 years ago, and they're still holding on to their feeling of betrayal story or that feeling of failure. They say things like, well, you know what, nobody in my family ever got divorced. It's sort of the reverse of the pride that people feel when they're first in their families to get a college degree. But instead, in this case, They run around saying, I'm the first person in my family to get a divorce. And that makes things worse. Holding on to our victim stories, to our victim consciousness, makes us sickly and holds us back from moving forward. Becoming an inverse paranoid, believing that every experience in our life is a gift to move us forward, will make us well. It's the medicine that can cure victim consciousness. Suddenly, obstacles, like the one the practitioner experienced and spoke about so beautifully this morning, that idea that she just didn't like somebody. And what was that about? And she explored it, and it was a gift to her in the end. See, suddenly our obstacles and negative thoughts are seen not as just another example of the world hates me, but as opportunities to grow and change and succeed. You know, if your car suddenly breaks down on the road, instead of imagine a serial killer pulling over, think of the possibilities that you will make a new friend. Or maybe you're looking for a new mate, and maybe that mate is going to turn up and help you with your car. If your company downsizes you out of a job, suddenly the chances are good that you're going to find your dream job with more opportunities and better pay. You know, that's happened to several people in my congregation. They thought, oh my God, the world is out to get me. I'll never get a new job, only to find out they got a job with a work culture that was kinder, that pay was better. See, if you develop cancer, the possibility exists that in the process of reorganizing your life to effect a cure, you'll create a more healthy balance in your life and rediscover what is important to you. The opportunity to become an inverse paranoid is not just for little things, but for the huge ones as well. If we will take the approach that good is not an accident, that everyone and everything in our life shows up for a reason, and that reason brings enhancement, you will know peace. I encourage you every morning to get up and signal the universe that you are an inverse paranoid, and it will assist you in swimming downstream, in cooperating with God's laws. Love points the way. The law makes it possible. Another thing to keep in mind as we understand and cooperate with God's laws is that frequently what we want is just outside our comfort zone. Think of your comfort zone as a prison you live in, a largely self-created prison. It consists of the collections of can'ts and musts and must-nots and other unfounded beliefs that you've accumulated about yourself. It's a prison that will keep you stuck from moving forward in any area of your life. You have probably heard the story of the fleas. It's a story in which a group of scientists get around a table, and they all have their little clipboards and their pencils, and they're looking at this jar that is in the center of the table. And in this jar is a group of fleas. Now there is a lid on the jar, and the fleas jump up and they hit their little flea heads on the top of the jar, and they fall back down. They jump up, hit their little flea heads, fall back down. Jump up, hit their little flea heads, jump back down. They do this for about 45 minutes, and nothing changes. The fleas jump up, hit the lid, and fall back down. At the 45-minute mark, they take the lid off the jar, and the fleas only jump up to where the lid used to be and fall back down. Now they can totally fly out of the jar, but they don't. They jump to the top of the jar and they fly back down. You know what? We do that a lot in our life, in certain areas of our life. We jump up and we fall back down. You know, your comfort zone works the same way the thermostat in your house works. For instance, for you, 75 degrees is comfortable. So you set the thermostat at 70 degrees. The thermostat sends an electrical signal to the furnace or the air conditioner to maintain the room at 70 degrees. If the air gets cooler, the thermostat sends a signal to the heater. If the air gets warmer, the thermostat sends a signal to the air conditioner. Similarly, you have an internal psychological thermostat that regulates the level of your performance in the world. Instead of sending electrical signals, your internal performance regulator uses discomfort signals to keep you within your comfort zone. As your behavior or performance begins to approach the edge of your comfort zone, you begin to feel uncomfortable. If what you're experiencing is outside of your self-image you unconsciously hold, your body will begin to send signals of mental tension and physical discomfort to your system to avoid discomfort. And when that happens, you unconsciously pull yourself back into your comfort zone. You have gone up to the lid and you've fallen back down when you could have jumped out. Jack Canfield said that his father was a regional sales manager for a cash register company, and he noticed that he had two types of salesmen. One was a $2,000 a month salesperson, and the other was a $3,000 a month salesperson. If the salesperson's self-image, if his thermostat was set at $3,000 a month, then that guy, whenever he earned that much in commissions, he would simply stop. If it was the first week that he earned the $3,000, he would slack off for the rest of the month. He'd go play golf, he'd go to the beach, he'd play games on his console, he'd do whatever he wanted. On the other hand, if it were near the end of the month and he only had $1,500 in commissions, he would put in 16-hour days, he'd work weekends, he would do everything and anything possible to get to $3,000 for that month. No matter what the circumstances, a person with a $36,000 a year self-image will always produce a $36,000 a year income, because to do anything else would take him out of his comfort zone. You have probably heard that 80% of all lottery winners have declared bankruptcy within 5 years because they're out of their comfort zone. Have you ever walked into a clothing store with a very high-end clothing inside and you felt immediately like you didn't belong there? It's happened to me. You know, I am the kind of person who gets my $12 and goes to a Supercuts. I don't know if you have them out there, but out here we have this store called Supercuts. $12, you get a haircut. That was fine with me. I would do it every 6 weeks. I was fine. Somebody in my congregation, however, felt I needed to upgrade my appearance, and so gave me a gift certificate to a very high-end salon to get my hair cut. Well, I walked in there. They gave me a robe to put on. I had no idea I was supposed to take my clothes off to get my hair cut. They gave me a glass of wine. I've been sober for 49 years, but I almost drank the wine because I was so uncomfortable. I was out of place. It was out of my comfort zone. But the truth is, whether it's me or whether it's you, we are God in form. We belong everywhere. There is no place where we don't belong. There are places we don't want to go, but there's no place that we don't belong. To even think about getting out of our comfort zone, you may have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Bob Proctor says this: we come this way but once. We can either tiptoe through life and hope we get to death without being too badly bruised, or we can live a full-out, complete life, achieving our goals and realizing our dreams. You know what? But feeling the fear and doing it anyway, that can be scary. We come by fear naturally. It's a gift from God. Millions of years ago, fear was our body's way of signaling that we were in danger. It gave us a burst of energy that we needed to run away from saber-toothed tigers that were chasing us. The problem is right now that most of the, in fact, all for most of us, the saber-toothed tigers that are chasing us are solely between our ears. They are the fears we've made up and mostly centered around the idea that we don't have what it takes. You have what it takes. Say that with me now. I have what it takes. Say it one more time. I have what it takes. And finally, cooperating with God's delivery system means we have to watch our mouth. Remember, your mother used to say, watch your mouth. Research indicates that the average person talks to himself or herself 50,000 times a day. And most of the self-talk is about ourselves. And here's the kicker. According to psychological researchers, 80% of the talk about ourselves, from ourselves, is negative, such as, I shouldn't have said that, they don't like me, I'm never going to be able to pull this off, I can't dance, I'm gay, blah, 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 I have ugly hair, I'm too heavy, I'm too thin, I'm too young, I'm too old. All of those thoughts, 80%, 50,000 times a day. See, we have to transform our inner critic to our inner coach, because if not, at the very least, we can limit ourselves. And at the most, we're going to kill our dreams and our hopes. Canfield says that to transform your inner critic to your inner coach, you have to understand a core principle. Most self-criticism and self-judgment is motivated by love. That is so counterintuitive that I'm going to say it again. Most self-criticism and self-judgment is motivated by love. If we can transform our inner critic to our inner coach, we can realize that part of us is trying to motivate the rest of us to do something for our own good. We're just going about it the wrong way, much like many of our parents did. When we were young, if we ran into the street, our parents might have given us, might have popped us, probably not so much anymore, but when I was a kid, that was standard. It was okay. Nobody got upset. Ran out in the street, I got a pop. Or maybe instead of doing that, what's happening is you get sent to your room, or you're told, were you born without a brain, or some other comment. Now, truthfully, your parents were motivated by love for you. They wanted to keep you alive, but that message never got delivered. And that's what's happening today when we yell at ourselves and we put ourselves down. We're not getting the message that love is pointing the way to do something differently so we can advance. And that when we first do something differently, you know what? We're clumsy at it. We need to tell our inner critic to shut the hell up. We're getting there. And then we look at and then after that, we look at appropriate spiritual principles, because love points the way, but love makes it possible. All of our ills, social, personal, and societal, I think could be solved if we can get to know that we are God-informed. For when we know that, we can walk in the presence of love. When we know that, we can understand that our love is pointing the way, even though it may not feel like it, and that spiritual law can make it possible. So let's take this message into prayer, knowing that there's only one power, that power that we call God or the universe or Elohim or Allah or the sacred grandmother tree or infinite wisdom, whatever we call that, by whatever name. We know that it is everywhere, always, all the time. We know that God only says yes. You want more peace in the world? Yes. You want equality in the world for all beings? Yes. You want the children of Gaza to have food and to run around and be happy? Yes. You want Jews to never have to face anti-Semitism again? Yes. You want this world to support your children and your grandchildren, and that we take care of Mother Nature? Yes. God only says yes to us. So I know that I speak the word that says I ask the right questions. So that when God says yes, I know I'm moving in a direction of harmony and peace. I give thanks for this. I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you for letting me share a message with you. I've enjoyed being with you today, and I understand I'll be on Zoom in a few minutes, right? Yeah?
Right.
All right.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Georgia.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
Thank you. Wow. Some life lessons there. And so now let's go through our New Minister's Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer. There is only one life. That life is good. That life is God. That life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express Spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of Spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law and is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual wisdom through through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I am offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of Spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express Spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I'm grateful that God is gracious, and so it is. It's now time for our conscious giving, and in the spirit of that, you can go to cslmidtown.org/donate. You can do a one-time gift or set up an ongoing contribution, or you can scan the QR code right there. It will take you right to that site. If you will, say with me our affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And we got a few announcements. First, I'd like to talk about our auction that's coming up. So you should be getting emails about this. So take a look, make sure you see those. And if you've got something you want to donate to contribute to that, it's one additional way of conscious giving that we are reaching out for. If you've got any questions about this, you can reach out to Lynn, Lynne, at cslmidtown.org. So continuing our thing on the wings of love, next Sunday, we're still online. It's the last Sunday of the month. We've got Reverend Cynthia Paulson coming back in her talk, Love or Fear, Mindfully Making the Choice. I want to thank our practitioner today, Norma Roberts. And if you are interested in knowing more, studying more, being more part of this community, there's a study group, an adult study group that starts at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. You're welcome to join them on our Zoom And you can go to our website, cslmidtown.org, and scroll down to the Zoom and jump on that. And so now, let's do our affirmation for life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. So it is. So join us on Zoom if you want to continue this discussion with Dr. Georgia. And if not, we'll see you next week.